Hello, good morning, Satnam, and welcome to day 2 of Awakening Your Ecstatic Potential. Welcome all those who are here now and all those who are going to join later. So really happy to be back for day 2. So we're going to begin just as we did yesterday with a minute or two of just sitting in stillness together, just coming into presence with yourself and with the sense of the energy of this group. So it is possible to connect into a space or a group of people, even energetically, even when we're not in one another's physical presence. So just wherever you are, however you are right now, just close your eyes and just settle down for a moment into stillness. And bring yourself present into your body and into this moment. So gathering your energy from whatever's just gone, wherever you've just come from, just coming present now into this moment, into your physical body, into your breath. And into the energetic container of this morning, this group, and this gathering. All right, so welcome back, opening your eyes. Today we're going to explore another very simple but very powerful practice. It's something I'm sure you're already familiar with in some way. However, it's really useful and brilliant to bring a beginner's mind to something that we think we already know about or we already know how to do. So we're going to be working with breath this morning because the breath is so fundamental to life. It is the breath of life. It is the spirit of life. Breath in yogic terms is called prana shakti. So it's an aspect of the divine feminine, that which enlivens us, which gives us vitality. When we're really able to master and work with the breath, it has so many benefits in terms of greater vitality, better concentration, it alkalinizes the body, it improves our intuition. When we're really able to slow down the breath, we connect more with spirit and we have a greater sense of calm. Enables us to deal with our emotions better so that we don't become so anxious. And the flip side is if we're not breathing fully, deeply and healthily, then it sets us up for all kinds of illnesses, anxieties and so on. And so many people, they're rushing through life in this very busy modern world and they're not really breathing, and that creates stress and anxiety in the body and eventually can lead to illness just because of creating an acidic state. But there's so much more to breath. It also obviously enhances our lovemaking. It gives us energy and vitality. So breath is the foundation of everything. So today I'm just going to talk you through long, slow, deep breathing, a yogic breathing technique, which is the foundation. So first of all, just notice now, if you close your eyes for a moment, just notice how you're breathing. Just notice how your normal breath is. Is it deep? Is it shallow? Is it slow? Is it fast? Are you breathing with the full capacity of your lungs? Are you breathing quite shallow in the very top of your chest, or is your belly moving as well? Is your rib cage moving? So just notice how your breath is. When we slow the breath down in the yogic tradition, we aim to complete 1 breath per minute. So that's a lot slower than most of us are breathing most of the time. So without any judgment, just noticing how your normal state of breathing is. And then just know that as you bring your awareness to your breath, and as you're able to cultivate mastery and slow and deepen and expand it, you will be able to reap so many benefits. And those benefits and this mastery is really the foundation for many other techniques that I'm going to go on to talk about in terms of experiencing bliss and ecstasy in your body, as well as spiritual connection. Okay, so I'm going to talk you through this technique of long, deep breathing, or yogic breathing, for which you can be sitting or you can be lying down. So make yourself comfortable either way, just like yesterday, lying on your back or sitting tall. So if you're sitting tall, sitting on a mat or a cushion or in a chair. You want to feel that if you're sitting, your spine is aligned. So imagine the center of your heart is over your root, and imagine the center of your head is above your heart. So those 3 body weights, your head, your chest and your pelvis, they're stacked one on top of the other. And you'll have a sense of your vertebra, fluid and flowing, rising up, and the back of the neck being in line with the spine. So you can feel into that. You can begin to cultivate your sensory awareness, so that with your eyes closed, without anybody needing to adjust your body, you can feel as to where you're aligned. It can feel, if you're not used to sitting this way, a little bit challenging for the muscles of the lower back and the belly and the core, but these are the muscles that we also want to strengthen. So, but also at the same time, do what you need to do to support yourself. So you might need a cushion under your buttocks just to lift up the butt to make your spine come into alignment. You might want to have something that your back can lean against so that you can sit tall. So do adjust as you need to. And if you're lying down, just make sure that your body is aligned in the same way, with balance. Okay, so when you're comfortable, now just begin by bringing your hands onto your belly, so your lower belly. And we're going to begin by going through this breath in 3 parts. So with your hands on your belly now, just breathe in and feel how your belly rises and pushes into your hands on the in-breath. And because we're aiming to isolate for the time being, you want to make sure that there's no movement in the chest and the rest of the top of the torso. So the movement is only beneath the hands, which are on the lower belly. So breathing in, the belly pushes out into the hands. Breathing out, the belly collapses, and you can even just slightly pull on the muscles of the lower abdomen so that you feel that contrast. So pulling the muscles in, a gentle contraction of the belly. On the out breath, so it's almost like you're pushing all the air out. And then on the inhale again, just allowing the belly to push out and expand. So I'm just going to play a little bit of music for you as we do this. If you're lying on the floor, you will also feel the lower back expanding into the mat or into the floor, the carpet beneath you. So you'll feel that expansion in the lower back as well. At the same time, so continue on breathing into the hands, focusing all your awareness in the lower belly. expanding the belly out on the in-breath, contracting the belly on the out-breath. You want to begin to slow the tempo of the breath down. You're breathing through the nose, so through both nostrils. And you can really exaggerate this as much as possible, because probably you haven't done this for a long time. So on your inhale, really expand the lower belly as much as you can and push out, fill the palms of the hands so that the space between the fingers becomes wider. And again on the exhale, pulling back, and a gentle squeeze and contraction of the abdominal muscles. And just to feel this isolation and be really clear of the muscles that you're using and engaging, just bring one hand onto your chest. So keep one hand on the belly. And then make sure that for now, there's no movement in the chest. So the movement is purely into the hand that is resting on the belly. Breathing through the nose, slowing the breath down. If this is totally unfamiliar to you, just know that many people breathe what is called paradoxically, which is they're breathing in a way the wrong way round, as in on the inhale they suck the belly in instead of allowing the belly to expand out. So if this feels weird, it's because your body's been breathing the wrong way and you're retraining it, basically. So then just releasing your hands and bring your hands onto the sides of the body where you can feel your ribs underneath the hands, whether you're sitting or whether you're lying. So now we're going to breathe into the mid part of the torso, into the midsection, to the middle part of the lungs. And we're aiming to isolate so that the breath is focused here. Again, if this is totally unfamiliar to you, it will feel a bit strange or a bit unaccustomed or a bit challenging. Don't worry. So on the in-breath, feel this expansion around the midsection. Particularly, you'll notice the movement of the rib cage. On the in-breath, the space between the ribs expands. And on the out-breath, the space between the ribs becomes a little smaller. Make sure that on the out breath you exhale fully and completely. So imagine that if you were watching the breath and it was a stream of smoke, it would continue to flow out of the nostrils all the way, all the way, all the way until there is no more breath in the lungs, and only then do you begin the next inhale. So continuing to breathe now only into the midsection, feeling the expansion beneath the hands that are placed on the sides of the body or on your ribs. And again, if you're lying down, you'll more easily notice that this breath also fills the back of the body. So, you know, we're three-dimensional beings, so in actual fact, this whole midsection is expanding out on the in-breath and contracting slightly on the out-breath. If you're sitting, you want to be sure that your spine isn't collapsing down like this on the out-breath, or just anyhow. So you want to maintain this height, this length. One way to support that is to imagine that on your in-breath the body expands width-ways, and on the out-breath that the body lengthens height-ways. You might begin to notice that even now, just with this focus on the breath, your mind is already slowing and calming down. So now we're just going to bring the hands to the top of the chest, underneath the clavicle bones here. And this might feel quite challenging in a way, because we're going to aim to isolate here and just breathe into the very upper part of the chest. So no movement of the belly, no movement of the midsection and the ribs. We're just going to breathe very shallow top breath here in the upper chest. Just notice it will feel very shallow compared to what we were first doing. So this is the place where a lot of us breathe a lot of the time when we're in our unconscious everyday state. And if we're only breathing up here, very quickly the mind becomes agitated. Very quickly we become tired. We lose our center. It's hard to make clear decisions. We may be afraid, so breathing here is a sign of fear. So just focus on that a little bit longer, just the top breath, very small, light breath into the very top part of the chest. But you will notice there is a movement. There is a slight lifting of the upper chest. There is a slight stretching of the skin at the top of the back. And Al, if you're watching this and sitting on the train, you can be doing this without your hands touching the body, so people don't think you're weird. Okay, and then just releasing the hands from the top of the chest. Take a full deep breath in, and as you breathe in, stretch the diaphragm. It's this big muscle that separates the organs of the lower body from the heart and the lungs. And on your in-breath, you can really stretch that muscle. Often if that muscle gets tight, again, we're breathing in a quite shallow, anxious way, and just doing a few stretching breaths can just relax the diaphragm to create more space in the chest and the upper body. Okay, so then I'm going to invite you, if you've been lying down, to bring yourself sitting. If you're sitting, rest where you are and just adjust your posture if you need to. So if you need to stretch your legs, stretch your legs. If you need to put another cushion under your bum, do that. So just make sure that you're super comfortable. Never, ever, ever, whatever we do, whatever you do, make your body do anything that doesn't feel comfortable, because then you're just educating your body to accept discomfort, and that's not what we want to do. We want the body to be feeling comfort and pleasure at all times. So if you need to adjust in any way, take responsibility for that And go ahead and adjust. You can do this with your legs stretched out in front of you just as much as you can do it sitting in yoga pose like I do, you know, or sitting on a chair. So do what is comfortable for you. The most important thing is that your spine is tall. So now we're going to put all those bits together. So tall spine, back of the neck in line with the spine. Go ahead and close your eyes. And begin breathing through both nostrils. Putting those three parts together. Inhale, feel the belly expand. Continue that sense of expansion into the sides of the body, the rib cage, the midsection, and then all the way to the very top of the chest, almost as if you're inhaling up to your clavicle bones. Notice the sense of expansion. When the lungs are full and you've stretched and opened and inhaled slowly as you can, you're then going to exhale through both nostrils, and this time release the breath, first from the top of the lungs, then from the mid part of the lungs, and then from the bottom of the lungs. It becomes a fluid flow. And again, just so you really feel the contrast, squeeze back on the muscles of the lower abdomen when you get to the very end of the out-breath. If you're sitting, you might want to rest your hands on the backs of your knees. You could even bring your hands into Gyan Mudra, which is a meditation mudra, where the thumb and the index finger are touching. And the backs of the hands rest on the backs of the knees. So it creates a really strong and stable posture to support your breath and a deepening into a more meditative frame of mind. Eyes are closed. And you are aware of the flow of the breath up from the pubic bone to the sternum and the clavicle, and down from the clavicle and the sternum to the pubic bone. Expanding the belly, the middle of the chest and the top of the chest on the in-breath, and relaxing and releasing the breath from the top, the middle and the bottom of the lungs. In this breath, each time you inhale and exhale, you want to slow down a little bit more and extend a little bit more. So you're slowing the whole nervous system down. The slower you breathe, the clearer the mind. The slower you breathe, the more capacity you have to orient yourself from the neutral mind or your higher mind, not the monkey mind. So when you're really practiced at this, you may be able to extend the in and out breath for 10 or even 20 seconds each. And you want to make sure that those two parts of the breath are equally balanced. We often have a tendency to be longer on the inhale or the exhale, but what we're aiming for is to bring equilibrium and to bring a balance to both parts of the breath. And that will take practice at first. It can help to count silently so that you are aware of this intention to bring balance. So counting silently. Maybe the in-breath lasts 10 or 15 seconds and then you make the out-breath the same. And then just understanding and remembering that this breath is the kiss of life. You are making love in every breath with existence. So take in the wonder and the bliss of this breath. Your eyes are closed throughout, just helps to keep the focus internal. And if you like to support yourself in dropping into a deeper meditative state, you can, with the eyes closed, imagine that you are looking up and out through your third eye. After this next exhale, just allowing your breath to regulate its own natural normal flow, and just observe how you feel. In this space of neutrality, calm and centeredness, just set an intention for yourself for this day. And if there's anything that you feel you'd like to note down in your journal, just make a mental note of that. Then just know that this breath is something you can always return to anchor yourself, to still the mind, to calm the emotions, to bring yourself more energy during the day. I often use this breath if I notice myself getting a little bit emotional and agitated, or if I'm looking for a parking space, to come into neutral mind and not to get anxious about it. I just begin a really full and deep, long, deep breathing practice, particularly focusing on starting with the belly, because I normally notice that I'm breathing quite shallow. And as soon as I do that, it brings me back to center and to calm, and often to finding the parking place that I want as well. But this is a really great technique. You can practice it on the train or the tube on the way to work. You can practice it in the car when you're driving. You can practice it when you feel that you're getting off center in some way, whether that's mentally or emotionally. And then in some of the future practices I'm going to be introducing, we'll be using this breath. So it's really important now, if you're not familiar with it, to continue to practice so that it becomes a skill that is second nature to you, because so much else is based upon mastery and intimacy of and with the breath. So just to close, let's take a full deep breath in together. And now let's exhale through the mouth with a sound. Let's do that a couple more times. So breathing in through the nose. Breathing out through the mouth with a sigh or a sound. one more time. Wonderful. So, thank you again so much for being with me today. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you tomorrow at 6:30. Sat Nam.